All right, good evening. Welcome into Game Day Preview. Cory Curtis and Julian Mininsohn. Mama Mininsohn in attendance for today's show. We want to say hi to her. As we preview another weekend of college football, of course, the Vanderbilt Commodores are headed to Austin to take on the Texas Longhorns, while the Tennessee Volunteers are back home to take on the Oklahoma Sooners. A classic SEC Big 12. No, it's just an SEC showdown now. Kemp. Let's look at that News 2 lineup, all right? A huge weekend of football coming up on News 2. Those are the power rankings. That's the lineup ahead. Vanderbilt and Texas at 11 o'clock. Georgia at Florida. We'll call it the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. And then in primetime, Julian, Oklahoma at Tennessee. It's another just spectacular lineup on News 2.
I mean, it just means more, right, in the SEC. Also cool that we get Vanderbilt and Texas again on News 2. The fact that both teams are actually doing well at the same time, two top 25 matchups, should be a lot of fun.
This is a elimination game for Texas. Texas has to, I mean, they've only got 2 losses.
Yes.
So this could be a turnaround game for Texas, and we're going to talk about this game coming up. Georgia, Florida, it's a rivalry game, so you never know. And, Georgia can't afford to give one away. And then you got Oklahoma and Tennessee, and that is a playoff game. Those teams both are 6-2,
yes.
And one of those teams will see their playoff hopes dashed. So it's a great lineup of football. We've had a bunch of them this year. This one just falls right in line. Let's start with Vanderbilt in Texas because it's the first game on the schedule. I'm a little bit stunned to start with, Julian. Vanderbilt, after being a favorite 2 weeks in a row, is an underdog. Started at 1.5, actually got bet up to 2.5 against a Texas team that not only lost too early, but is just coming off 2 games where they squeaked by Kentucky and Mississippi State, bottom feeders in the SEC, and that's supposed to impress me. Why?
Well, part of it, they're at home, so you get a point there at home.
Okay, that's one.
So that's one. I think they're looking off of the fact that Arch's status is up in the air, but the team did score 45 points this past week, and it was
in overtime.
In overtime, it was
Mississippi State.
It was their best offensive performance as a team at this point this season, and maybe they feel like something's clicked there. Now, do I agree with it? No.
Well, I mean, we don't have to agree. I just think it's easy money.
But yes, I don't agree that Texas should be favored. I think Vanderbilt's proven time and time and again that they are to this point the better.
Team.
Yeah, they're the better team, but. That may be the reasoning for the Texas -2 or 2.5, like you had said.
Now, I know the backup, and forgive me, I don't know his name, came in for Texas and got the touchdown to win the game after Arch got hurt in overtime. This young man, I think, played at Jacksonville State and then went to Troy last year and had like 13 touchdowns.
Yeah,
and 8
Caldwell, Matthew Caldwell.
So if you're wondering if he's Joey Aguilar back there, he's not.
No.
He's not. Now, he did make a good touchdown pass, but I think if you're Vanderbilt, you welcome him. If he plays, you welcome him. And Arch got rocked pretty good. So, I don't know if he'll be able to play or not. He got blasted right in the back of the head. It was an ugly blow.
Talking about this past week, the Mizzou game, I think that was Vanderbilt's most impressive win of the season.
Because they didn't play well?
Because of how unimpressive they were. Championship teams,
agree with you.
Cory, need a game like that throughout the year to say, hey, even when we're not at our best, and even when another team makes us uncomfortable, like Mizzou did to Vanderbilt for a majority of that game, we could still prevail. And we talked about it going in. Mizzou and Vanderbilt, they're kind of like the same team.
Oh, yeah, they know each other well because they practice against themselves every day.
Every single day. And so even when there may be a play or two that decides the game where you're looking for that 1 or 2 plays, can you be the team that makes it as opposed to the team that doesn't? Vanderbilt stuck to the game plan, running the ball. They finally broke one, the 80-yard one to MK.
Didn't panic. They were in a fight, and they didn't panic at home. And I agree with you completely that there's a lot of positives, that come from that. And I also agree completely. Every championship team gets thrown into a rock fight sometime, somewhere. Indiana went to Iowa this year. I told you it was going to be a rock fight. It was a rock fight. They still won a game that was not their style.
It was like 20-15 that game.
Yeah. It was not an Indiana-style game, but they still found a way to win because they were the better team, and they didn't freak out, and they didn't panic. The only way I see Vanderbilt losing this game is if they get away from being Vanderbilt and they try to throw the ball up and down the field and they turn it over. But if they just try to run the ball and play defense and let Diego be Diego, I think they'll be fine.
And I think I say that because I think this game, if Arch doesn't play, could be very similar in that Texas is okay winning 16-13.
They just need to win.
Yeah. And I think the fact that Vanderbilt did it this past week, and they kind of know what to expect for a defensive performance, a tough, hard-nosed defensive performance from another team, I think they'll be that much more well-equipped, even if it is on the road. Because Vanderbilt, they went out, they're right in the driver's seat there for a playoff spot. You know, and this past week, I knew they were good enough to be in the playoffs. Now I think they're good enough to make noise in the playoffs should they get there.
Sure, I look. What NIL has done is it has spread the top-tier talent out. So more teams have more top-tier talent. That's my phone.
This is Oregon. We're not talking about Oregon here.
That's my phone. I apologize. More teams have more top-tier talent, so it's spread out. And the other thing is because it's spread out, teams like Alabama don't have 5 stars stashed on their roster anymore.
Yeah.
And so when they lose somebody, they can't just, we got 3 5 stars behind him. Now they only got 2 or maybe 1.
Now that 5-star goes to somewhere else like a Vanderbilt and says, hey, I want to play right away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I think it has relieved some of the elite status from some teams at the top. And I think it's made college football more competitive. And I think it's going to make the college football playoff even better because you're going to see I don't think the outcomes are going to be as predictable. And so and I think that makes for a much better product. Well, the preparations are underway off of West End. The Commodores talked yesterday. Let's hear from Clark Lee and company.
I mean, they got athletes everywhere, from front to bottom. They're talented everywhere. I mean, a lot of 5 stars, stuff like that. But, you know, the key to stopping them is stop the explosive plays and stop the run. And I feel like we've been doing that well the past few weeks, and we just got to keep it going, and we'll walk out with a win.
Any specific players that have stuck out to you?
Yeah, it's a lot of them. Number 1, the receiver, Wingo. Also number 0, another receiver. The backs, all their backs can go.
Definitely watching back the film last year from when they played Texas, I feel like they definitely gave that game away to them. And I know we're going to do everything in our power to take the game over this year and not let that happen again for sure.
Obviously, to go down to Austin in what's a great college football environment and play against a really talented and well-coached Texas team. And, you know, we've played to a level that's put us in position to play in some really exciting games, and obviously this one's incredibly meaningful for so many reasons, but I think the most significant is that it's 2 good teams and it gives us a chance to you know, keep aim towards our long-term goals. And so this is climb number 9 for us. We're relatively healthy.
Arch Manning is in the concussion protocol for Texas this week. How does that affect preparation? Do you have to prepare for him and the potential backup just to be ready?
We will, certainly, and I hope that Arch is doing well. I mean, I want to obviously, you know, being a competitor is about competing against the best, and he gets the attention that he gets for a reason. And so I also hope just for his health, like we hope for everyone's health. You know, it's unfortunate to see guys get hurt. This is a physical game, but also, you know, have competed against Sark enough to know this is a team of an offensive system, and so there are elements and parts of the system that we're going to focus on in our kind of developing a plan to contain them and defend them. There's a lot of talented skill on the perimeter. That's going to be a factor no matter who's the quarterback.
All right, that is Clark Lee. Rando and Fontenette was the first one we heard from there. Do you think Clark Lee is like Clark Kent when he takes the glasses off? Nobody puts together that they're the same person?
I mean, he's just as jacked as Superman. I'll tell you that. He's probably the most jacked coach in college football.
In pretty good shape.
He was talking, or Randon Fontenette was talking about Ryan Wingo, 5 catches, 184 yards
he's
for
a
Texas.
speedster.
Yeah, and we talked about if there is a hole on this Vanderbilt team, I guess they're more susceptible to a really good passing team, and that could be a problem. But up and down the roster, if Vanderbilt, I think, plays their game and is physical and wears them down, I just don't see how Texas beats them.
Well, look, when the season started, who was number 1 in college football?
It was Texas, yeah.
And why was that?
Arch Manning.
Well, and the thought was their roster was so good, and Arch Manning was going to win the Heisman because his last name is Manning. He has not lived up to the hype, and I'm not trying to pick on the young man. I mean, I don't want him to have to deal with that, but that's just reality. He when he decided to play quarterback, he knew he would be thrown into this circus, and he's in it now, and you can sink or swim. He had struggles early. And he's still not playing great, but it appears that he's working his way through it.
I was texting with a buddy of mine today who's a huge Texas fan. Went there, his family went there, so it's in his blood. And I was talking about the matchup this weekend, and he said, yeah, Arch isn't maybe playing up to the expectations, but he said they need O-line help. And Arch is getting hit more than even Quinn Ewers was last year. And so that may be an area where Vanderbilt's defensive front, and we saw them take a turnover away with C.J. Hurd this past week. He ripped the ball out of the running back's hand, and it ended up being the difference of the game. So maybe no matter who is back there, whether it's Arch or Caldwell, that's kind of where they could shrink the margins a little bit and come out with a victory.
Well, look, if their problems are in the trenches, they're playing the wrong team.
They're absolutely.
Because Vanderbilt is really good in the trenches on both sides of the line of scrimmage, which leads me to even like Vanderbilt more in this football game. Where do you have the final score on this one?
I predicted it 24-20 Vanderbilt wins, and I think, though that is lower scoring, I think it will be. I think Vanderbilt is okay with that, as we saw last week.
Yeah, I'm in the 23-16 range.
Okay.
I think Vanderbilt will lead all game, and I really wonder if Vanderbilt can get up by 10 points if Texas folds, because their season is on the line. Now, they didn't fold last week at Mississippi State, but if you get them to doubt themselves, if you get them to fall apart, I mean, there's reports about their coach wanting to go to the NFL. Is Arch healthy or not? I think there's a lot of things pointing against them, and this is their line in the sand game. This is their gotta-have-it game. If they want to get back in the playoff mix, they got to win this one. They got to be impressive, and they've got to set the standard that they can be that kind of team.
I think they kind of had a semi-version of this game against Oklahoma, and they showed up.
Yeah.
But Vanderbilt is better than Oklahoma is.
Yes,
so
they are.
We'll see.
Speaking of Oklahoma, the Sooners are headed to Knoxville this weekend to take on Josh Heupel and his Tennessee Volunteers. It's the Josh Heupel revenge game. It was a Heisman candidate quarterback at Oklahoma, and was their offensive coordinator until he was fired. But he is at Tennessee now, and he will take on his alma mater, and we will preview that game coming up next on Game Day Preview. All right, welcome back to Game Day Preview. We've already talked about Vanderbilt headed to Austin this weekend to take on the Texas Longhorns. There is a game already underway here Wednesday night. The Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders are hosting Jacksonville State and are actually winning their football game. They're up 6-0 in the second quarter, still searching for their second victory of the season. It has been a tough go for the Blue Raiders, so we'll see if they could finish that out. We will have highlights of that game tonight coming up on News 2 at 10. Now, as for Tennessee, for anybody who complains about the college football playoff, if you didn't have the college football playoff, this would just be a game between two teams that were going to go to decent bowl games. Instead, you've got October-November playoff game.
It's an elimination game.
Yeah. I mean, so you've got 100,000 volunteer fans, Oklahoma knowing they're up against it, and just – I mean, this is what primetime football should be. This is a classic matchup. This is a great matchup.
Yeah, and it should be high scoring, too. I mean, the way Tennessee is scoring the ball this year.
Number one scoring team in college football,
56 points, against Kentucky. Oklahoma, their quarterback, John Mateer, hasn't looked the same since coming back from the hand
probably
injury.
Still not 100%.
But they do still have playmakers on that side of the ball and a really good defense, so Tennessee will be tested on that front. When we're talking about the Kentucky game, coming off the 56-point performance, kind of went like how we expected, I would say.
They gave up a lot of points, but they scored a lot of points. And I guess that's my question about this game is, that Oklahoma defense is better than Kentucky's.
Yeah.
Can Tennessee score enough points against this Oklahoma team to where Oklahoma and John Mateer don't have the football with a minute to go and a chance to win the game? Because that's what I'm afraid of for Tennessee, that they're up 38-34 with 1:08 to play, and Mateer gets the ball at the 25.
We've seen Tennessee at times this year, and the offense has been great, but Georgia was the game that sticks out in my mind, where they go through maybe a quarter and a half rut on offense.
Yeah.
And that basically kind of decides the game, because they're either playing catch up the rest of the way, and you don't want to trade scores or give another really good team the ball in a win or go home kind of situation. At this point for Tennessee, I think I've accepted the fact that
they're going to give up a lot of points.
They're going to give up a lot of points. Like, this is who they are, right? Like, you are going to outscore teams, but you are also going to live and die with the fact that, hey, maybe we just have to get a big turnover or some sort of timely stop. Arion Carter is dealing with some turf toe, did not play this past week.
That's bad.
And you could use him because he is not only one of your best tacklers, but he has shown up in big time situations and turnover situations.
What really concerns me is the secondary. Because, like you said, John Mateer is coming back. He's getting healthier. He hasn't played the full season, but yet he's still thrown for 1,800 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. But when you look at their leading receivers, Julian, they're explosive players. I mean, right now, Isaiah Savenga has 43 catches for 624 yards. That's 14 and a half yards a catch. All right. That's a big number.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And then their second leading receiver is actually a tight end in Jaron Kent. And he's got 27 catches, and he's averaging 14 and a half yards a catch. This is what concerns me for Tennessee, because their secondary, I mean, it's been brutal this year.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I think their offense can outscore them. But Joey Aguilar, if he has a bad turnover, you saw it against Georgia.
Yeah.
It can flip like that because you get into that game. I mean, in Kentucky, they had that game in Kentucky, but they were able to outpace them. I mean,
they were a better team.
Yeah, but I mean, still, they gave up 34 points.
Yeah.
I mean, 56-34, and that's why Oklahoma's better. All right. I think Tennessee is better than Oklahoma, but I just worry that they put themselves in a disadvantageous situation.
You mentioned the defensive backs, and according to the Tennessee injury report today, Colton Hood, one of their better defensive backs, he's not active, at least listed as active for this upcoming game. So he's kind of up in the air dealing with a calf injury that he suffered against Kentucky. So you mentioned the receivers of Oklahoma.
So it gets worse.
That's one less guy you got.
All right, well, let's go to the volunteer locker room and hear from Tennessee as it prepares for the Sooners from Oklahoma.
He's a great quarterback. He makes the right plays, makes the right reads. We just have to, as a D-line, we have to keep him in the pocket, make sure he doesn't use his legs, and just try to get a lot of pressure on him, get him off his spot early.
Tom, they have a couple of running backs that have, both have had good games. What do you see from their skill position players?
I mean, it's Oklahoma. They always have great skill position players, so you're going to be in for a fight. We just have to, as a D-line, we have to fit it right and stop the run early. Then the game will be easy after that.
Very talented. They're physical. Them boys ready to play. Like, they want to get after it.
Yeah, their defense is really talented. I'm pretty sure they're one of the best in the SEC. So I feel like it's going to be a good challenge for us as an offense, and we have to come ready to play.
Yeah, watch the tape. Getting ready to play a really good Oklahoma team. Defensively, one of the top teams in the country in every statistical category. Their front's big, strong, physical, relentless. Tackles for loss, sacks, not giving up a bunch of big plays. Huge test, and offensively, dynamic quarterback that's a playmaker. Does that through the air, does that with his legs. He's got good skill around him, so huge test.
Coke should make Heupel wear the helmet with the drink holsters on the side and the two straws.
And the sippy straws.
Yeah. That would be a better look.
Funny kind of like food sponsorship story. So John Mateer, when he was at Washington State, he was actually Cam Ward's backup, and he had a sandwich there after named after him at a barbecue place in town called the Meat Tier.
Nice.
And he was saying,
I've never had a sandwich named after me.
Yeah, what would you have on that? Because he's a Texas guy, so he had barbecue brisket,
there you go.
a bunch of other stuff too. But yeah, it was a loaded sandwich. What would the Cory Curtis sandwich have?
I don't know. I mean,
A meatball sub? I know you love a meatball sub.
No, I don't love the meatball sub.
Really?
Yeah. Why would you make something up about me like that?
I'm just sometimes I just look over and there just happens to be a meatball sub being used.
I may
don't
have
know.
had one meatball sub since you started working here,
Oh,
and that's because it was the special at Subway.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Now I do like a cheesesteak. I like a Reuben.
I love a Reuben.
I like a tuna melt. I like a lot of things. A club sandwich.
Yeah.
You know what I don't understand? Who decided to put 3 pieces of bread on a sandwich? I mean,
Yeah,
it's really hard to eat.
Camp says the Big Mac.
I mean, I'm not Scooby Doo. Okay, I'm not
Yeah.
Scooby Doo. I can't open my mouth like that. It doesn't work like that. I just eat 2 pieces of bread. Even
Yeah.
you know what I could also I could do open face. I could.
You're an open face
The
guy.
Cory sandwich would be open face with an extra slice of cheese.
Oh, wow.
You know why? Because I'm extra cheesy.
Oh my god. Can we end the show now?
All right, Joey Aguilar, 2,300 yards passing this year, 65% of his passes, 18 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He's having a great year, but they need a good game from Deshaun Bishop, the banger.
Yeah, Deshaun Bishop. He's proven he could go for some explosive plays.
7 yards a carry for the season.
Yeah.
For the season.
You can go down the field with Deshaun Bishop and be okay.
Yeah.
And that opens up so much because this past week against Kentucky, something that I thought was pretty incredible is the Vols had 3 receivers each get over 100 yards. Mike Matthews, Chris Brazel, and I'm forgetting the other one. But yeah, three receivers with over 100 yards. But that doesn't necessarily happen unless you can run the ball. And they're going to have to against an Oklahoma team whose defense is way better than the Wildcats is.
Yeah, but you brought up Brazel. They had 3 receivers go over 100 yards in that game. I think that's one of the big things for Tennessee and for this Josh Heupel offense, really, is they have more receivers. Like the last couple of years, they couldn't play the pace they wanted to play because of the quarterback position. They also couldn't make the plays in the passing game because they weren't good enough at the wide receiver position as well. They have remedied that. Staley and Brazel.
Staley, that was it. Thank you.
I mean, they are very, very good. You had Brazel as a first-team All-American on your ballot.
On my midseason ballot, yeah.
I mean, so my point is Oklahoma can't key on one of these guys. They can all play. And Staley's a freshman, right?
Yes, he's a young player.
He's just getting better, and so that's a problem for Oklahoma. And I keep talking about what a problem this game is. I do think Tennessee will win, and you want this game to be a problem because you want it to look good on your resume. You want to show people you can beat somebody.
Yeah.
Right. And this would be a good win for Tennessee.
This is also their last ranked opponent until Vanderbilt comes into town. And so this is, you talk about resume boosters. You don't want to lose to Georgia and Alabama and then potentially lose to Vanderbilt because I think all of Knoxville I don't know what would happen if they lost to all 3 of those teams in the same year.
All right. Well, who wins and why?
I'm going Tennessee. I think they get ahead, a quick start, and I think it's tough for the Sooners to come back because I do think that's where Deshaun Bishop and the run game come into kind of win that time of possession battle. 27-24.
I think that's way lower scoring than I would have expected.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Tennessee 34-31.
Okay.
I think it's going to be dicey, but I think they'll either come up with the touchdown to put them 2 scores up late, and Oklahoma will have to scramble, or that they will just come up with the stop when they need it because they still can rush the passer. They still can rush the passer, and we'll see what they can come up with. Mateer does have 6 interceptions this year. If it was in
Norman,
if it was in Norman, I would have more concerns. But Knoxville at night, I like that. Let's look at the News 2 lineup one more time. It starts with Vanderbilt taking on the Texas Longhorns. That's 11 a.m. Now, game day is not in Austin, but SEC Nation, isn't that the name of the program?
Yes.
SEC Nation is, so it's a big day down there. And then Florida, I know I'm supposed to know everything. I don't even know who their interim coach is.
Well, I think the big question is who's going to take that job because that is still a coveted job.
It sounds like James Franklin's headed to Virginia Tech.
Which is interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Florida, I don't know who would be a fit over there. I mean, Lane. Yeah,
Lane.
He's the only one goofy enough, but also genius enough to thrive at an LSU or a Florida.
Well, so that's a big game, and then in the prime time you've got Tennessee and Oklahoma, and of course those are all on News 2, and we have News 2 at 10, which follows the last game, where you can watch Julian, and he'll wrap up the whole day in sports for you in about 150 seconds. I don't know how, but he'll pull it off. And then after that, we've got TN Nation coming up Saturday night after the late news.
And to answer your question, Billy Gonzalez, he was wide receivers coach there at Florida.
Billy Gonzalez, I've never even heard of him.
Yeah. Could have been a fan.
Could have
Yeah,
been.
I
Could
don't
have
know.
been. All right, well, that's going to do it for Game Day Preview this week. We will be back here tomorrow at 6:30 with another episode of Sports Extra Daily. Chase is refusing to do the show with us tomorrow, so it's
Chase.
so it's just gonna be more of us. But I think we can probably pull a third person into the chair.
Yeah, maybe
It's just a matter of who.
a guest. Yeah.
Mystery guest. Mystery guest. All right, enjoy the football this weekend, everybody. Thanks for watching today. We'll see you next week.